Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 6th February 2017. The first article, that is Ancient Sport, New Age Protests. This article is related to Jallikattu. In this, we will be trying to understand what are the undercurrents of this Jallikattu movement. Now, elitism, modernity, inequality, urbanization, these are providing new challenges to the identity of the people. Certain sections of the people appear themselves to be lost and they are becoming insignificant in the process of our progress. And the fight against ban on Jallikattu can be seen as an unsynchronized awakening of this underclass against growing elitism. Now, it means it is the time for us to introspect how to fight this particular resistance and also indifference coming between elites and the serving or else underclass in the country. And second, if you see the Stephen Hawking statement, the 21st century is the century of complexity. In this complexity, the change is imminent. Here, the nature of the change itself is changing. And we are living across these changes and the change is too fast for us to adjust. So in these moments, we take pride in our past, in our identity, and when Jallikattu was banned, that is very much threatened for the people. And further to this, whenever such an incident comes before the state shall not appear weak. The state can be compassionate and considerate, but it shall not appear as weak. So, division and dispersion of the power make the state to appear weak. So, in dealing with these spontaneous movements, the state's presence shall be made felt. Finally, we can say, the growing intolerance is getting accentuated because of social media. And public opinion is galvanized in minutes and hours because of the widespread social media. In this scenario, the state's job and then administrator's role is becoming more and more complex. So this is what we need to learn from. This is what we can describe as indeterminate complexity through which our society is moving forward, makes the administration and politics of the day much difficult to manage. And then coming to testing the old scourges. This is about TB, Kala Azar, filariasis, leprosy in India. So TB, we want to eliminate that by 2025. To what extent is that a possibility? Any elimination of the TB, there shall be certain things we need to keep in mind. Availability of the drugs and then continuous uninterrupted consumption of these drugs and follow-up of the people and initial diagnosis and availability of these diagnostic centers close to the people. And then the extended drug resistance TB, multi-drug resistance TB, these are also growing. In this context, the 2025 appears to be a challenge to eliminate tuberculosis from India. And in this year, the number of tuberculosis have doubled and India bears 1/4 of the total tuberculosis cases across the world. And in India, the susceptibility is also very much high for the tuberculosis due to low immune conditions. And the second is, we have leprosy, Kala Azar. These two diseases are confined to only certain belts. It means that they are endemic only to certain areas in the country. So we need to specifically focus on these endemic areas. With regard to Kala Azar, it is also been called as dum-dum fever. The intermediary host we need to work with, that is the sandfly has to be killed. So an endemic and intensive approach is necessary for the fight against leprosy and Kala Azar, and states' cooperation is very much necessary to fight the tuberculosis. And going to the next page, the breaking the status quo. Now, here Mr. Venkaiah Naidu tries to say that reform is the only objective of this government and a series of programs are initiated towards reform. Here, Niti Aayog creation of it is to provide for the policy direction and advice to the government. With regard to the farmers, doubling of the income by 2022 is the goal. So irrigation, insurance were given the priority to protect the farmer from drought and other adversities. And with regard to girl child, Pradhana Mantri Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana, Beti Padhao Beti Bachao, and with regard to women empowerment, Mudra Yojana has disbursed already 2 lakh crores of rupees. Cleanliness, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. And then we have electoral reforms which have been announced in the recent elections, where a party cannot accept more than 2,000 rupees in cash donations. Electoral bonds will be released very soon. And every party has to submit the audited accounts every year. So these are the 3 things which are being recommended. And then affordable housing was given the infrastructure status. It means more bank loans are going to come for it. And then demonetization is ultimate disruption. And because of this, the digital currency has increased. And also there is an ongoing fight against the black money. And he states about the BEAM application, which has become much successful in India. So these are the issues which we need to talk about. With regard to center-state relations, the 14th Finance Commission recommendations were being implemented. Now the states get 42% from the divisible pool of taxes and 5% goes to the local governments. So the present government is more oriented towards disruption and progress, reform, change. That's what Mr. Venkaiah Naidu wants to convey us. But for example, I will use this information just to revise the programs initiated by the Prime Minister Modi government. Now I got very good articles on the business page today. Now see these articles. Is India's subprime crisis is in making? Now if you take a subprime crisis, the money was lent to the people who are not credit worthy. It means in America there is a credit rating, and based on this the loans are being given to the people. So when the people credit rating is low, then also banks have offered the loans to them and they have become risky. It means if we take China into consideration, there also the banking crisis is due to these particular non-performance assets and also non-worthy loans to the people. In India, the situation is no different, and India's subprime crisis appears to be on offing. The reasons are this. So, 3 statistical data has been brought in. One is interest coverage ratio. It means that is your profit is sufficient to pay back the interest on your loans or not. And second, current assets to liabilities ratio. Now, what is, if I sell off all your properties, are you able to clear your loans or not? How much percentage you are ready to clear? And debt to equity ratio, how much you borrowed, how much is your own money? So the debt to equity ratio shall be greater than 5. If it is greater than 5, it is seen as an aberration. It means 20% and 80%, that is ideal, and more than that it has to be seen as dangerous. Next one is 25-75, like this thing. Next is current assets to current liabilities ratio. Now at least half of the liabilities have to be covered with the existing assets. And this interest coverage ratio shall be greater than 1. It means you shall be able to pay off your interest with your profits. Now in India, most of the corporate companies suffer from lack of profits as of now. But they are getting more loans which they are using to pay back their interest. It means the capital which has been taken from the banks is used to pay back the bank loans. And it is increasing their liabilities. Asset liability ratio is decreasing. And then we also have a worsening debt and debt to equity ratio. So in this context, the people who are taking the loans, when they are unable to pay, the government is providing for fresh liquidity infusion into the banks. And this is creating a situation where habitual defaulters are getting a motivation to do that further and further. So that is what the article talks about. And then coming to, will budget help double farmers' income? Last year it's been told that the farmer's income will be doubled by 2022. Here, however, there are certain arguments. That is it real income or nominal income? The real income may be difficult to achieve and the nominal income may be achieved. But however, the existing 1% of the agricultural growth will not achieve the same. And second, if it has to be achieved, the minimum support price of the people have to be increased. It shall be more than the cost of production plus 50% shall be the profit, and based on that MSP has to be devised. The price stabilization fund need to be established, and then the female, in the name of the female, the land titles have to be issued. And then drought proof from farming. 5 lakh new ponds are being constructed, and Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana is more focusing on less or more for the less drops. It means more crop for less drop, effective utilization of the water resources. And then the cost of production is increasing. Government is also trying to raise the fertilizer subsidy. And the marketing facilities are being expanded with the e-NAM. And finally, the organic farming is going to be less costly and government is going to promote the organic farming. And coming to the news page, Delhi Dhaka push Ganga Basin Authority. So Dhaka is going to build Ganga barrage so that the water released from Farakka barrage, this will be stored at the Ganga barrage and will be then they will be made to flow downwards whenever they are needed. So India and Bangladesh government, they want to take forward the discussions on Ganga Basin Development Authority so that they can collectively participate in the development of Ganga Basin. So that's what is, Sheikh Hasina is proposing for. And come to the notes. I have prepared these notes, try to go through that after the class. And thank you very much. As I promised to you, we have posted the Sandeep sir's diary of events. I can see few of the comments stating that the video is a bit slow. So don't worry about that. You can watch that in 2x speed so that you can complete the class quickly. And it is available at laex.in/civilsprep. On this website is available. You can go there and take a look. Thank you very much and all the best.